welcome to the 2013 Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the University of Indianapolis. Our next inductee is John Lyzott.
Mama, I saw you up there.
Judy. John graduated from Indiana Central College in 1964, but not before lettering 4 times in wrestling and being a part of the '64 Little State Championship team. Upon graduation, John turned his passion for the sport into a career, becoming a teacher and a coach. He began his career in Hollywood, Florida, where he taught biology and chemistry at MacArthur High School. In 1989, the Hollywood community celebrated John Lyzott Day. In 1993, John was promoted from science teacher to head of the science department. In 2000, Lyzott was honored by his high school alma mater by not only being inducted into the Beech Grove High School Hall of Fame, but also being named the Beech Grove High School Alumnus of the Year. Much of John's life was dedicated to the sport of wrestling, for which he was recognized and honored. He garnered many coaching awards, including the Florida Athletic Coaches Association Coach of the Year, Greyhound Club Wrestling Coach of the Year, and the Broward County Coach of the Year as well. He was also inducted into the Broward County Coaches Association Wrestling Hall of Fame. As a coach, John and his teams were 4-time state wrestling champions and 3-time state runner-up. He had an overall win percentage of 90% with a record of 282, 28, and 3 ties. But even with all of his awards and accolades, John Lyzott is best remembered for being the caring, involved coach he was to his athletes. Congratulations to John Lyzott, a 2013 University of Indianapolis Hall of Fame inductee. To accept John's award is his sister Judy Price, and to give his comments is his good friend David. David?
Like I said, my name is Dave Van Horn. I've known John since he entered Beech Grove High School in the 9th grade. And John has been a remarkable friend to many people over a long period of time. I'd like to mention that there are 6 of us here that were in high school with him. And 2 wrestlers, Armstead Johnson and Cleo Moore, who wrestled with John. And I know that Dan Rollover would have been in that time span also. And so those are these people are all here to honor John and recognize what a great athletic facility and setup this place has. I've always admired this, and being a lifelong resident of Indiana, I admire what you guys have done in the complete field of athletics. As far as John's concerned, anybody who has known him would identify him as an extrovert's extrovert. And along those lines, that's my theme for trying to explain this guy to you, and many of you have never seen him. But he's a curly-haired guy back there on the screen. Anything he could do to create a little strife, create an atmosphere where people are discussing back and forth issues of the day. John would be the leader in that. And quite often he would bring up a topic and then take the opposite view of everybody else just for the sake of argument. That was his personality. Well, there's probably no better person in the world to represent a Beech Grove Hornet than a guy who's always trying to create a hornet's nest. And he was perfect at that. His years here were naturally pivotal in his life. He had a real nice career here. But John's remembered as a great coach. He went to He went to MacArthur High School in Hollywood in 1968. Kind of in a rough neighborhood, but this school had never won a state championship. And so John, being the remarkable psychologist that he had turned into, got a hold of his team and started preparing those guys the way he wanted. He wanted guys that could win and were hungry and could make a 2.0. In only his third year of coaching did he come up with his first individual state championship. And that year I lived down there, and I was able to see Lawrence Wright walk off with that title. And for Coach, the first one is the big one, right? The first one is the one you remember. I was a football coach myself. I can attest to that. John's psychology worked different on different kids on his team. To those gifted athletes, he was a tormentor, like he was with all of us. He would ride them and hang the carrot up there and drive them to do their very best. But he didn't drive, he led. He held that carrot up there. He held that up there. And those good kids of his that were responsible for multiple individual state championships, they knew what John had done for them. And on the other side of the coin, you're actually going to have a team of kids where a lot of them are average but hungry wrestlers. John was more of a leader and a father to those kids. He tried to bring them along as people, bring them along as wrestlers. Only positive motivation, positive as he could be. One of my favorite stories of about 50 is he had this one kid in a dual meet that was going to be paired up with the defending state champion in that weight class. The kid was naturally nervous. So John comes in the day before the dual meet and tells the kid, the state champ got sick this weekend and he's not going to wrestle, so don't worry about it. So you can guess what happened. His kid went out and beat that defending state champion and was so proud of what he did. You talk about John's tactics. Unorthodox? Yes. Effective? You better believe it. And like Matt said just a moment ago, John meant an awful lot to the people in that school district. He nurtured so many of those kids to go from wherever they were to be productive citizens. And one of his best state champions, a fellow named Odaby McDowell. Odaby was a 3-sport letter winner in high school, and he was a great baseball player and ended up playing for the Texas Rangers for a couple of years. Now he's back coaching high school baseball in Broward County, that same area. And there's a quote that he had in the paper, and that is, the most important thing he can do for his kids is to have them grow up to be productive citizens. Now guess where he got that? We all know that that's that's what John left in that kid's mind. One of his greatest athletes, and an athlete that knew that John was the real McCoy, and we all miss John a lot. We're all sad that he's gone. Like I said, unorthodox, you better believe it. But effective, his image will carry on for years and years and years in Hollywood, Florida.